yet. Um, if you
Can't say no on that.
if you go to the main tab and the magnifying glass to the right of your class, just to the left of your proficiency, you'll get a pop up.
Yeah, of course.
Uh, and then to the left of the class is that red icon with the white dragon. You'll click that for whatever class it is you're wanting to bring over. And then the top left, where you hover and it has the drag record link, you can drag and drop that to your character sheet.
Ah,
And that
that
will
might work then.
prompt for the subclass selection and everything else.
So drag that bit and drag onto there. That might
Mm-hmm.
work. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was doing something weird when we hit the level up button.
Yeah, I don't personally
Usual.
like the character wizard or like the automated stuff like that. It's a bit more of a pain in the ass than I like. I'm like very
Oh,
anal and want to
yeah,
see
which
it.
one was? Hang on.
Oh, and you're gonna long rest us, right?
Yeah, yeah.
D&D Player's Handbook or D&D Player's Handbook Legacy or Free Rules.
It's definitely not Legacy.
Yeah,
It's
legacy is
true.
yeah. Use the player's handbook without the legacy tag,
Okay.
because otherwise you
Maybe
won't get
I
all the
should have
new
added
cool
everything.
stuff from your class features and everything.
Yep, there you go. You're good. You don't have to make any selections at this stage. It's just us spellcasters
Yeah.
with our fancy mastery of the arcane.
So fun.
How does one do a long rest actually?
DM has to do it for you.
Oh, okay. There we go. DM has the power.
I have the power. I am He-Man. That's who says that, right? I think it is. Whatever. That's what we're going with.
the power.
Yeah.
I think so. I have the spell slots.
Ah.
I can finally cast Mage Armor again.
So,
Speaking of which, I'm casting Mage Armor.
casting mage armor, beautiful. We need to. Yeah, did it already? It should automatically apply for you.
It never works. So
Okay. Okay. Then we will modify that, and that's a +2, correct?
Probably. Hold on. Let me
Let
look.
me double
You
check.
know, no, it's a +7.
Lies.
What's a shot?
Doesn't
13
hurt to
plus
try.
dex.
13 plus dex. So
Oh, we
you're.
did 16, right?
Yes, it would.
Yeah, 16.
So it would be 3. There we go. Beautiful.
I'm not getting stabbed this time.
Yes.
But that's mainly because I'm not using silvery barbs to save somebody else's life this time.
And I
So
think
sorry about that, Umar.
no, it's all right.
Yep.
You one and done. Everybody gets one. Well,
No, one person.
Umaril gets one.
Guess what?
Gets one.
You get one instance of me saving you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think for the time
Yeah, you
being,
don't wanna
we
get
will
one.
just leave silvery
Oh.
barbs as is, rather than doing the modifications that we had discussed. We'll leave it as is, and then if it starts to become too OP and all of that stuff, then we'll look at revisiting it. Give me just one. I got player messages,
We're
and
still
then we will
keeping it so you
go.
can't use it on crits, right?
Say that again.
We're still using it so you can't use it on crits, right?
No, you will. We'll just leave it as is. You can use it on crits. We'll leave it read as written, as it is, not make any changes. If we find out that it's being utilized way too much and kind of, taken away from the story or anything like that, then we can revisit it. But we'll just.
So retroactively, I would have survived. Curses.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've leveled up. I'm more powerful. I can now do it on crits. That's the reason.
Yes. So, do you guys want a DM recap while you guys level up, or do you want a player recap for the inspiration?
Oh, I actually had space for it this time. But this is the one time I didn't look at my notes in advance. So no,
No
can't do it.
worries.
I just remember drowning a guy.
Yeah, that was it was pretty
I
simple
know it's a-
session. Go ahead.
My notes are literally used one arrow and threw down short bow, and then in big bold letters picked up short bow. Those are my notes.
That's the important because right here on my little scribbles was Valor threw down short bow. So you guys,
Oh, mine was worse. Bliss went down a bunch. Oh, see, interrogated
yeah,
Karan.
yeah, he went down twice, like back to back. So initially, the group had discussed a plan while you guys were in the more western cavern after defeating the goblins over there and finding Sildar and healing him up. Um, Bliss says a prayer for the group. Everybody is blessed. Um, Valor took a potion of healing because he was hurting pretty bad. From there, combat ensued. There were more goblins. There were surges of water from the pool, the reserves at the north end of the tunnel caves. Ultimately, you guys defeated everybody. Karan had used shape water and encapsulated Clarg in the ice. After
Adventure.
making after making a throne of ice and being steady, chilling in it, you guys got some information. He had told you that he worked for King Groll, who answered to the spider, um, and that they, as far as he knew, had taken Gundren to Cragmaw Castle, which is somewhere in Neverwinter Wood. I believe it was Umaril who had some information or a idea of where the castle may potentially be in the woods. Ultimately, you guys killed Clark, and we are now in the process of investigating the Clark's cave and ensuring that there are no other hostile creatures in any of the other chambers or tunnels. So I have that Bliss, Karan, and Valor are going to be investigating Clark's room. Tomas was going to check the rest of the tunnel system and caves to make sure everything is safe. Umaril, what are you doing and as they are scouting and looting and tooting and booting?
Um, he would essentially just be kind of, I guess, writing stuff down in a journal. Um, just kind of idly waiting for people to kind of get their thing done before they can kind of proceed down with the rest of the cave, because he's not going to really move on forward alone for the sake of, more people to help me, the more trouble, less trouble I have to deal with. So he may have, banter conversation with this guy from the Lord Alliance. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Um, so, Tomas, go ahead and give me an investigation because I don't think we rolled one for you for your scanning and searching the cave, unless there's
Yeah.
something else that you were wanting to do.
I don't have a very high investigation, but I'll do it. Let's go.
I believe in you. Okay, not bad.
That's not bad, yeah.
Yeah, not bad at all. So, as you move stealthily, trying to stick to the walls and peeking around corners before pushing forward, moving quickly but silently, you are able to ensure that there are no other creatures, hostile or otherwise, anywhere in the cave system. So you know that you and your friends are alone. Karan, Bliss, and Valor. Go ahead. Okay. As you guys are poking through and sifting through the crates and barrels and all of the items that are in here, you notice that actually I think Karin, you would notice it first with the highest of the investigations. some of the crates in this room have a familiar sigil on them. What looks to be a symbol of a shield with the head of a lion on it. Adorns the sides and tops of at least half of the crates in here. You guys will also find, let me find a picture. A jade frog statuette with two golden orbs as eyes. Karin, go ahead and roll a d6 for me, please.
I missed.
Nailed it.
It was a 6. Oh, it was a 6.
A 6 again. You find 6 potions of healing. And I'm just going to say everything you guys find all together, and then you guys can decide how you want to, like, divvy things up. So you find 6 potions of healing, the jade statuette. In total, there are 150 pieces of silver. There are 1,700 pieces of copper. Amidst the crates, there's a lot of adventuring gear, tents, water skins, mess kits. There's rope, the lengths of hempen rope. You find that there are 2 crates that have crossbow bolts and arrows. In total, I think that there would be 8 quivers of each.
How much silver did you say?
150, and then 1,700 copper pieces. And then if you guys want, moving forward, if it's easier, I can just convert it all to gold and give you the gold value instead. Okay, so that'll be 15 from the silver, and then another 17, I believe, from the copper. So 32 gold piece total, I believe. You also find that there are a couple sets of leather armor in the crates that have the lion shield coster on them.
Well, the crossbow bolts will definitely be most useful for... Where is he?
Me?
Are you hiding from me now? Where are you?
Maybe.
Oh, there you are. In that case, I'll get the crossbow bolts and pass them over to Thomas.
Okay. I've updated your inventory. You now have an ungodly amount of bolts.
Grazie.
Then
So does anyone think? Oh, go ahead.
No, you go first.
Does anyone think these crates may have been stolen?
Almost certainly. I'll just keep on rummaging as I say that.
I can't recall. Did anyone say that things were stolen from Lion Shield Coster?
No, I can't remember off the top of my head either. Well, considering we were attacked last time, it seems sensible to at least keep the more pointy things on Thomas's person in case we need to fire some pointy things again.
I'll agree with that part.
That's mine. If you think it's mine, it has sentimental purposes.
Besides that, they probably killed the people that. Well,
Oh yes, I
was going to say,
I have a tear in my. Go ahead.
Sorry. At the very least, for now, we should take hold of the items that could be immediately useful. If it is stolen goods, having it in a box when it could be useful to our survival in a life and death situation, not going to be any use. But if it's actively on us, it could keep one of us alive. If we find the person who it belongs to, we can give it to them then.
Well.
Hello, Bliss.
Look what the cat dragged in.
Boom tisk.
I'm going to be listening in for a few minutes.
No problem.
My memory serves correct now. I think Lenine mentioned something about shipments not arriving on time.
Vladimir.
Been working very well since the infant. My apologies.
Oh yeah, it's true actually.
Well then, how about this? We keep the most useful things on our person, but make a note of what it was, and make an effort to return all these items. Would that make you feel better?
I'm sure they will appreciate that. Yes.
Then, in that case, based on how much stuff is actually on the image of the map, will it all fit in the? We did come by car, didn't we? Or did we walk? I can't remember now.
You walked.
I'd be happy to carry everything that that's needed.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Well, in that case, then it'll also lighten the load on you should something else go wrong. So, do we want to divide up what is sensible for each person to carry, and Valor tries to carry the rest, and then head back to me? Then, in that case, I will start divvying up the potions that were in the thing, so like each person has one. Although
Okay.
there's one spare, isn't there? I'll hold on to the spare one.
Okay.
I'm feeling selfish.
That's okay. Let me modify that in everybody's inventory. Potion of healing would be 3.
I have one question
Yes.
before I decide what I'm doing next, though. Have we leveled up now, or are we leveling up after a rest?
So, technically, in game, you guys have not leveled up.
Okay, then I will not do what I'm about to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I allowed
good
you
to know.
guys to do it while we were waiting to save some time.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, but
I would like to take the ink, if possible,
I thought
unless
you might.
anybody else wants it. It
I
might
mean, I
help
have-
me
I have enough
with
of
my
my own.
scrolls. I figured.
Tell you what then, I'll help you get all this ink and stuff, and I'll like help him get all the ink and all the other things that he would need for his little scroll thing,
Yeah.
and go towards each person, passing them the scrolls. Not scrolls, potions.
Okay.
While I'm walking close to Thomas, though, could I just very subtly imply that maybe he should pocket some of the gold while nobody's looking?
Yeah.
Please
How?
don't take it.
All right. So
Need to roll.
And I will actively distract everyone else who I'm talking to.
all
I'm giving
right.
him a look as like I expect some of this for later.
Oh,
Go-
no, I'm taking it all, by the way. You know.
Go ahead and give me a sleight of hand with advantage, and then we'll hop over to Umarel speaking with Sildar.
Put advantage. Wait a second. Well,
There it is.
I wonder which one.
Holy crap.
Beautiful. So that's going to put you here for your gold. Beautiful.
I like gold.
You
I feel
don't
like that
say.
one. I
I was just going to land on your
love
shoulder and just sort of pointedly stare at you for a second.
I reach for my dagger to give it a smile.
But no, that's all I'm going to do while I'm in here. I'm now too focused on helping Valor move like specific scribing stuff he needs, and whichever the lightest box that I would have to deal with is.
Okay.
How much
Umaral.
gold was it?
It was 32, and I've put it in your inventory for you.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome.
I deserve more.
You do, but you didn't find more. I'm sorry. You'll have to take it up
What
with
about
the
all the
wizards.
gold rings on that dude?
Yeah, who has those? I forgot that you guys had taken them.
Definitely not me.
No idea. Not in my inventory.
Okay. You know what? I don't think anybody took them. I think you guys had talked about taking them. Do you loot the body?
No, they are in my inventory.
Oh, they are? Okay.
I
Okay.
can see them.
Okay, perfect
But there's a
then.
thief in the party, so I didn't want him to know.
Well, it's a good thing he has no idea.
I think I'd probably know.
I
To be fair,
don't
yeah,
know. He's
Yeah, I think so.
Karen's just
I'm
walking
left.
around all blinged out, acting like nobody knows.
With the Rolex.
Looking
I'm
like
the
Mr.
policeman.
T.
I wonder if he's corrupt.
Of course I'm corrupt. Have you seen me use innate sorcery?
Yeah, he's all inky and shady. Quiver of arrows. Okay, go ahead and add another 20 to your inventory, hun. Umaral, after taking your notes, wanting to engage in a conversation with Sildar, how would you go about approaching that?
So, Sildar, tell me. This maid you speak so highly of, I'm assuming he's in the Lord's Alliance as well?
Gundren? Yes. He's a good man. Moral man. Consider him almost a brother.
You know, I grow quite weary of the meddling that you and your people have really caused me in the past few years, I'll say. Every time I find something worth, I always find you there. And it's not that your intentions are at the wrong place, it's more of a problem for me in the long run.
How
I find it very annoying at best.
how is it that it is problematic for you?
This very cave. I would assume that once you're done here, you're gonna run off to your higher ups and tell them everything about it.
Well, that is not directly my plan. While there is an order to things, sometimes if things can be handled in-house, there's no need to bother the higher-ups with it. At least not immediately. Right
I'm gonna
now,
insight check him.
absolutely. And
I'm
he
interested
will
in this guy.
he will continue. Right now, my biggest concern is finding Gundren and my friend Diarno, who may have some information about what's going on. With a 19, so having just met him, and I'll say this a lot as you guys, incite new NPCs and stuff, you are not familiar with his quirks and his tells. If he's withholding information or not being fully transparent. But as his eyes lock with yours while he engages in this conversation, and the way he speaks, there's no shift or hesitation in his words. There's confidence and what you can only perceive as honesty. As he goes on to say that right now his biggest concern and point of interest is finding Gundren, and hopefully finding Iarno to get some information, being at the forefront of his concerns. There is a conviction in his words, and you can see a little spark in his eye that gives you the impression that in this moment, nothing else takes precedence.
Well,
The
very well then, Seldar. You seem to be speaking the truth for now, at least. But as long as we get this little agreement that this cave has, no one knows about it, no one finds out about it, I really don't care what you do. It's my main concern at the moment.
Why are you so concerned with keeping things like this unknown and shrouding them in secrecy?
Because I've dealt with the likes of factions before. I've dealt with the Harpers. Quite hypocrites, I'll tell you that. The Red Wizards of Thay, of course, and most of all, just human greed and nature in it by itself. It is quite an unneeded problem I don't need at the moment, at this current time. I've dealt with this before, and I don't want to really deal with it right now. People will start coming, looking for wealth, power, you name it. Every bastard wizard has done it in the past.
Would it not be fair to say that that is a human condition and not a faction problem?
Well, although that may be somewhat true, at the end of the day, let's take an example. I believe that your alliance is more for, how do I say it, more caring for nobility and government. Although you do share some similar qualities to the Harpers, I will say, your interests really lie somewhere else. I wouldn't say it's to the good of the people, more about keeping the higher-ups happy.
I will say that it is quite unfortunate that my brethren and those of other factions have left this foul taste in your mouth. But I would ask of you to judge a man by his worth and deeds, not lumping him in with the group that he is associated with.
We'll see in time. In time. And after that, I'm gonna stroll off to look for my rock that has sentimental value to me.
Point of inspiration.
Thank you.
Very well done. Okay.
Look, my bad. I don't want to interrupt, but look, JJ, Alan is a very cool. He's a quiet character.
No, okay.
I'm so
I asked him
sorry.
where the heck was this crap in my campaign, because
I'm playing. He's a quiet person. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just how I wrote him.
it's all good.
I was wondering what was going on. I saw the little shit-eating grin on JJ's face.
He's like, why aren't you talking about this in the Monday game? It's like, look, man, Alan's a very quiet person. He's very soft-spoken. I don't know how to
I
tell.
don't think I've heard this many. I don't think I've heard like nearly this many words out of Raylock in 20 plus sessions.
I mean, Shift was pretty vocal.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All
Bullying
right.
him.
So you guys are divvying everything up. Are you guys wanting to rest here prior to heading back to Phandalin and start fresh the next morning, or are you wanting to head out now and rest in town?
You said it took like what, 5 to 7 hours? Can't we? If it took, wouldn't we risk exhaustion then?
Potentially.
In that case, it might be a smart idea to rest here.
Okay.
Umaral's gonna second that notion.
Beautiful. Then let me...
Can't be tired when we go back to loot the town.
Not at all.
I'd rather sleep in a cave than in a house where I can't even stand.
Fair enough, actually.
Well, if that's the case, do we want to move, I don't know, some rocks or crates or something in front of the entrances to this bit, just to make sure that I know we've checked and made sure that it seems like there's nothing in here, but it's still a cave. Maybe blocking the entrance off slightly would be a decent idea.
Point of inspiration.
Yay. I mean, that was mainly just coming from the paranoia of being shivved last time.
Fair enough, works.
I may have come up with this idea, but I am not moving any rocks. Vador, you're the tallest one. Please move something in front of the entrances for me.
Oh, okay. What is there to move? Some crate?
I mean, anything that could, if something does come back, cause any amount for. I mean, hopefully nothing does.
How about Bliss just stands in the entrance? Nobody's getting around it.
That poor
God,
man
so
needs a
weird.
break. My man's gone down
I'm
twice.
trying, but I can't move his character.
Damn.
Before we actually start sleeping, Baylor will
Yuck.
say something to the group. So whenever that happens.
Never.
Whatever we can find to put in front of there, is there anything like big enough?
I'm not going to be a child. You're trying to put it in the front of the cave?
In the back.
Wherever.
Okay.
Like where we are right now, guys? Like right here?
Yeah, and we put it in.
You could stack
Back.
up the crates and stuff that are there in the room.
Okay. I also want to know, what is this over here? Is this
That-
like a fall?
That is the little,
Like a little crack?
fissure. So when you guys were freeing and speaking to the wolves, and you could see that little tiny crack up
Uh-huh.
on top of it, that's just a little. I mean, Quill would be able to fit through it. Basil might have been able to squeeze through with a decent enough check. Thomas might be able to squeeze through with a decent enough check, but it's a small little opening.
I can
Your
definitely
big
see
ass is not
Buddy.
going.
Anybody have some gunpowder with you?
Jeez.
Does Valor know about guns?
I've heard about some weapons that other people use. I just used my arrow and my fist, but
My
I've heard of some stronger weapons that might be of use.
Sorry.
Cue the rock golem.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys are able to successfully stack up the crates and stuff. It doesn't completely, like, floor to ceiling close everything off, but it is a little barrier that at the very least would notify you if someone were to come knocking it down.
Okay.
Do you think it's still worth having someone keep watch throughout the night?
I mean, I have the biggest ears. I could hide up somewhere near the bridge or something.
I only need to keep this room safe, to be fair.
Well, it's fine. Don't be naughty about it.
So, Tomas, you're taking first watch then?
Yeah, I'm
Rotating
gonna-
through watch sounds fine.
Valor would like to take one of the first ones to get a seamless 2-hour stretch where I'm awake. Por favor.
Yeah.
So before we do rest, can I make like one try looking for that rock that I kind of came here for? If it's, you know,
Absolutely.
here.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me an investigation check. Please and thank you. Okay.
Got an
Uh,
11.
With an 11. And assuming that you take your time doing this, knowing that for the time being, from what you've been told, you don't need to worry about being ambushed or blindsided by anyone or anything attacking. Taking your time to go through and search the cave and tunnels here. Potentially even like tapping into the weave to feel for any kind of archonic energy or pull. Exhausting all of your efforts, you do not find anything that matches this description.
A little bit of disappointment's gonna kind of appear in my face. I'm gonna say, "Damn, it must be really with that dwarf country. This is my problem now, it seems." And then yeah. Um,
Um, is there anything that anybody else would like to do prior to watch order and taking rests?
Yes.
Just look around outside, by the way.
You're gonna like keep watch outside, or just
Yeah,
scout?
Bliss is saying that. I wasn't sure if you'd seen it.
Oh, okay. I hadn't. Thank you. Okay. Bliss, are you doing this during your watch, or just okay? Looking for
Like-
healing
Oh,
herbs.
before it
Like-
gets dark, to just like look around for some healing herbs
Okay, beautiful.
to replenish his stash if there are any in the area.
Okay. And you're not on yet. Are you okay with me rolling survival?
Yeah, go ahead and roll
Okay,
away. Absolutely.
beautiful.
Survival, perception, herbalism, whatever you think the roll is.
Okay. For this one, I would call either survival or nature. And taking into account that you know what you're looking for and all of that stuff, and you are proficient with the herbalism kit, that is taken into account with the DC. So let's see, survival, perception.
I think I'm +1 on nature or survival.
Yeah, they're both the same.
Yep.
So. Oh, survival's +2. We're going that.
Oh, all right.
Okay, I'm assuming you're guiding yourself.
Sure, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, 16. Beautiful. Okay. It takes you a little bit of time, as most of the area surrounding the cave is either open space or trampled, as the goblins had mushed down quite a bit of the foliage here. But ultimately, let me bring this up. Sorry. I forgot the ingredients and stuff, so I went to Google. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. You are able to find, I'm going to roll here. Okay. 3. And then are you looking for stuff to make healer's kits or potions of healing?
Potion of healing.
Potion of healing, okay. You are able, with a 16, you find enough herbs of what you need, what you're missing, to make 2 potions.
All right, now we just need some crafting time.
Yes. So in your inventory, I'm just going to add potion herbs. I'm not going to
Got it.
be a dick and be like, you have to find all of these things specifically.
Aha.
The results of your rolls when you are searching for more, or where you're at when you're trying to buy more, will be what affects how much you get of all of it.
That makes sense.
And then the quantity of that will be how many you're able to make from the herbs that you have. And then, Baylor, I put the ink in your inventory? Did you put the arrows and stuff in there already?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
And whenever it's I'm assuming Vayler's gonna go to sleep first, so that at the end I got 2 hours. But he's gonna say, and for all of your sakes, if I wake with undergarments on my face, someone's getting punched. Doesn't matter who. Could be a wolf. 3. I won't ask question. I will punch you. Sleep well.
Point of
So it's got to be
inspiration.
the new people.
Okay, so Valor, you're taking the last watch, you said?
Uh, well, I'd like 2 hours at the very end where I can do my roll.
Okay, totally fine. So
first
right now
watch.
I have Tomas and Valor taking watch. Is anybody else going to take a watch after that, or are we just splitting it?
I mean, I could split that, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I have to wake up?
I mean, you don't have to.
Cool.
I had a player at one of my tables who was like, yeah, I'll take a watch, and then slept through his watch. So whatever you want to do is totally fine.
Oh, I'd at least tell everyone I'm not waking up.
I respect it. Okay, let me change this.
And also, I fell asleep in like the second combat we had. I feel like they should understand that having me keep watch is not a good idea.
Yes. Tomas is taking first watch, so I'll do yours last. I typed these up. I'm going to try and shorten and consolidate them so it doesn't eat up too much of our time, but I wanted to do something for you guys taking your subclass level.
Okay.
As Tomas, you take your post to begin your watch, the rest of you begin to drift to sleep. The exhaustion and excitement and adrenaline of the day begins to wane a bit. Karen, you find yourself drifting, not asleep, not awake. You are in that sludgy, wet half state that you have come to know all too well. The moment that the heaviness of your eyes takes hold and close, reality like sloughs away, almost like wet parchment. Black ink begins to bloom across the pale horizon. Not sky, not ground, not sea, just a formless, liminal space where logic and physics rebel and gravity itself forgets its existence. Words begin to fall from the air like rain. Each letter begins to liquefy mid-fall and sinks into the invisible surface below. And then comes Inky. Not in form, as Inky almost never comes in form, just in presence. That dense weight like a whisper against your soul. The air saturates with meaning without language as you receive this lesson rather than hearing it. A mind is not a prison, Karen. It is a corridor. Hours are longer than most. The ink around your feet begins to curl up and slither over your skin. It doesn't clean, it interfaces. Your feet and legs grow numb as you can feel this presence slipping into your veins like cold through stone. A rift tears open in the horizon, and there's something there. Not Inky. No. Something else. No face. It's watching from behind a veil of sense. Perhaps a connection to Inky, or something that once tried to understand it and failed. You feel a hunger for understanding. And you have a moment of realization. You are a book in the beginning stages of being written. A voice calls out from this unknown entity. This form, yours, must soften. You see yourself in an out-of-body experience, your body writhing like ink. Your veins pulse with shadowed syllables, and your mind becomes elastic. You watch as your head begins to warp as one eye splits briefly into three, only to snap back with a wet blink. For a moment, you are plural. Ink begins to spiral off of your chest and forms an abstract creature with too many angles and too few eyes. It blinks. You blink. One mind, two vessels. And then snap. In an instant, it is gone. When you awaken, somewhere far, far off, Inky's presence ripples through the air like a ripple across reality. The voice of Inky whispers, "Lesson complete. The corridor deepens." And you look down and you see that you are no longer on the floor sleeping, but rather almost floating. No, riding the tendrils and droplets of ink. Valor.
Darren's just going to have a really contented smile when he sees that.
You're welcome, and you know what the fuck that does.
Yeah.
Valor. As sleep overtakes your steady breath, the darkness behind your eyes almost begins to shimmer, like the rising sun across a still lake first thing in the morning. You stand barefoot in a field of silver grass. Each blade glows faintly, lit by the sky. The wind is still and the earth is silent. In the distance, as you kind of shield your eyes from the rising sun, you see Eldrin, seated cross-legged upon a stone carved with flowing circular runes. And you realize that it is not the sun that is bringing the light or hurting your eyes. It is the glow of these runes. His silhouette glows with a soft golden light, but his face is veiled, as it always was. "You wear the mask now," Eldrin says. His voice kind of echoes like a bell in an empty temple. "But do you understand it?" You feel yourself slightly pulled forward without having to move. You try to speak, but your voice is lost. As you see his silhouette stand, you notice that your hands are open and trembling. One glowing faintly with a golden light that matches the runes. The other soaked in warm blood. Eldrin begins to step towards you, and as he does, the grass beneath the shaman's feet begins to wither, blackening in perfect footprints beneath his step. "The balance must be practiced, not just worn," he says as he kind of taps at your own mask. Running his finger down to your chest with two fingers, he taps, and a white spark flares and then begins to spread, growing into a storm of sigils that kind of spiral in radiant motion around your body. And then the sky fractures, like glass. The field is gone. The runes are dim. And Eldrin is nowhere to be seen. Rather, you find yourself in a stone temple, ancient and shrouded in shadows. You see that there are statues of forgotten deities that kind of crumble along the walls. But just ahead in the center, one remains, robed, the face is hidden, and the hands outstretched, one with a palm up with an offering, the other in a balled fist. Once again being drawn nearer, you watch as the eyes of the statue flash open, pure white eyes that weep tears of ash. You hear a familiar voice as your mother calls out, full of sadness and strength. The hand that heals must also know when to strike. The wound that festers must be cut free. Mercy is a blade. Be ready to wield it, my son. The temple around you quakes. Softly at first, and then violently. You notice that behind the statues, dark vines begin to slither forward as something is being dragged from a crack in the floor. A monstrous shadow with eyes that gleam like red burning coals. And when it whispers, you do not hear it through your ears, but through your soul, as dozens of broken tongues whisper, Valor. And then you see the town of Phandalin. A black obelisk pierces the land like a rotting tooth. People scream, children cry, and you find yourself standing amongst them, mask on, fist clenched. But you hesitate, and you watch as the town is destroyed around you, as you stand there helpless. Do not forget who you are. Eldrin's voice echoes one last time. And do not let your mask become a wall. His words echo.
Do I wake up at that point? Okay.
Yeah, his words echo in your mind as the crumbling city begins to dissipate around you. You will awaken at the end of the dream.
Who all else is awake right now?
Right now, so at the end of this, you guys will all kind of be waking up close to the same time. Well, except for you, you're getting woken up when Thomas's watch is over. So when you wake up for your watch, unless somebody else says otherwise, Thomas would be the only one awake, as you are second on the watch.
Okay. I'll message Tomas.
Okay. Let me turn this down. Ethereal. As you go to rest, sleep takes you like you've plunged headfirst into cold, black water. The events of the day and the failed retrieval of what you came for, coupled with the frustration of one of them being here, replays in your mind like a deep, low hum. You open your eyes and find yourself standing barefoot on a frozen plain under a starless sky. Beads of snow fall around you, and the snow beneath your feet cracks like glass. But there's no sharpness, no cold, and no pain. Only the feeling of something powerful that thrums through the ground, pulsing in tandem with the beat of your own heart. You watch as a spire cracks up through the ground in the distance, impossibly tall and carved from obsidian and fire. Chains of molten brass begin to violently wrap around the surface, almost binding this spire like a prisoner, or perhaps protecting the world from what is inside. Each step you take drawing nearer, you feel your body grow heavier, almost as if unseen hands are pulling you back and down. A sourceless wind begins to blow, and you hear that it carries whispers, not voices, but names. Names of gods, names of betrayers, names of those who had knelt to divine thrones. You do not hear your name. You enter the tower through a door with no seams that almost welcomes you in. Inside, there's a spiral stairwell that climbs up into nothingness, and you hear the clop, clop, clop of hooves of a descending figure, massive in size. You can feel the reverberations from the steps. Stepping down in front of you, you see that his wings are a shroud of shadow and furnace. His face, unusually handsome, but carved from disdain and crowned with curling horns. You see Hutagen before you, but the voice that you hear is not his. As he continues to clop towards you, 1,000 crimson runes flare into existence and begin to orbit your head, almost binding and branding not just your flesh, but your very soul. There's a presence behind the Duke that kind of surges forth. You recognize this to be, I cannot ever say this, Mephistopheles, the architect of Hellfire. His voice comes not in words, but in equations. Cosmic truths that are written in burning glyphs that sear themselves behind your eyes. The weave is a leash. Cut it. Your hands ignite with fire, and you watch as it curls around your wrists and climbs up your arms, carving paths into your skin where celestial light will never tread. In that agony, there is clarity. You are not Sithrael, child of the gods' mercy. You are not a servant of false life. Before you, a mirror of polished obsidian rises, and in it, you see your reflection. Not a boy shaped by sorrow, anger, and longing. You see that your eyes now glow with an infernal power. Your presence is cloaked in regal defiance. And not against your will, but against your efforts, you hear your voice echo across the plain. I am Uriel. The tower groans as the chains unravel and fall, collapsing to the ground. From the mirror, the last feather of your old self falls and burns to ash. You awaken, knowing that you are not a servant. You are not a supplicant. You are a harbinger. You are one who will unmake the god's domain. Bliss. As you drift to sleep, your body aching from your close call with death twice today, you find yourself once more at the sacred waterfall of Eldith. But it's different. The water no longer flows in silence. Instead, it sings, soft, melodic, and ancient. The pool glows with moonlight, though when you look up into the clear sky, no moon is present. The trees bow in reverence, and the mist that rises from the waterfalls is thick with golden motes that swirl almost in a purposeful pattern. Stepping forward and kneeling beside the pool, you gaze down into its depths, but you are not met with your own reflection. The face that looks back at you in this body of water is that of Peta, radiant and shifting. Her voice speaks in a dozen different tones at once, almost like it's light being scattered through a prism. You have learned well to be still in a world that moves, but now you must move with the world bliss. Dance with the winds. Burn with a righteous fury. Flow like water to fill what is empty. Ground yourself like stone when the storm comes. The shelter lives in all things, but it cannot grow without your flame, your breath, and your roar. With this last word, the world around you kind of begins to fracture as elements begin to separate through those fractures, coming around you in rings. Air, fire, water, and earth. They begin to spin around you, picking up pace, and you are drawn into the center, not being pulled apart, but you feel yourself expanded. Every fiber of your being begins to vibrate with pure elemental energy. Your fur lifts in the currents, and your paws feel the strength of stone beneath them. Your heart is the beat of a thundercloud. And then stillness. From within the calm of this vortex around you, a voice emerges. Something ancient and gentle, almost as if the Feywild itself is whispering. You are not just bliss. You are balance in motion. Take the breath between the beats and let it carry you. You are the drum. You are the rhythm. You are the storm and the calm that follows. There's one final surge of warmth that courses through your chest before settling like a candle, ever present, glowing, and warm. When you awaken, you feel empowered, almost as though you've brought a piece of the Feywild back with you. Uh, Valor, I will allow you your exchange with Thomas as you wake for your rest, or wake for your watch so he can rest.
I was just getting okay. So I was literally just typing it out to him. Tomas, are you gonna say what you said to me?
Yeah, so I basically see you with your mask off. For a second, you're crying, and you notice that I can see you as well, and then you go, oh shit, and put your mask back on. Basically, Thomas sees this, and I'm unsure how to react to it. Your turn to stand watch, huh?
And Valor will kind of like look away a little bit as he's putting the mask back on, and he doesn't respond right away to you. Instead, he sits for a few long moments, and you kind of see his left hand still kind of like lingering near the gash, almost absent-mindedly, before he kind of lowers it down, resting it on his knee. Yes, my turn. I didn't mean for you to see that. And he kind of shifts a bit. He standing up, kind of slowly. You sort of see him sort of like collecting himself, joint by joint. Fiddles around with his weapons for a bit, and then just loud enough for you to hear over the he'll say, "Some wounds never stop bleeding. We just learn how to wrap them better." And then he'll pull out some parchment, ink, and a quill, and kind of just sit down and start writing out his scroll.
More than just a bad dream, huh? Alright. I'm gonna get some sleep. You were saying?
He would probably just say, I don't really know one way or the other, but I'd appreciate it if you kept what you saw from the others.
Yeah. Some guys don't like to know that, they cry and stuff, I suppose, yeah. It's okay. Night, big guy.
Good night.
And Thomas goes to sleep.
Okay.
I'm a little confused, but okay.
I like that you respect enough to not push or pry. All of my characters have been like, do you want to talk about it? Thomas, after your interesting exchange with Valor, as you turn in to get some rest, the scent of cold stone and blood from the encounters here clings to the air. The scratching of Valor's quill against parchment almost sings you to sleep. You find yourself in a silent chamber, dimly lit only by a flickering torchlight that casts shadows dancing across walls like living ink. Before you, a massive obsidian door looms. The surface is carved with thousands of locks, each one softly clicking, almost restlessly as if impatient. Behind you, ravens, dozens of them, all perched in a perfect circle. Their eyes are bright with an unnatural intelligence. One of them tilts its head and then croaks in that strange way that they do. But you understand that it is speaking to you. You are not a warrior. You are a whisper in a crowded room. A breath that goes unnoticed. Ah! As the raven begins to flap its wings, the gust of air almost pushes you forward. And you feel a weight in your hands. Looking down, you see that a set of tools has appeared there. Not tools that are forged by smiths, but these are carved from bone. Blackened iron. And, hey, you know what? I find that offensive. The tools seem to move with you, almost effortless and sure. Almost as if you have always had them and known them. You press your free hand to the door, and a cacophony of clicks take place as one by one these locks undo themselves. You're not breaking in, Tomas. You are being allowed in. As the door swings open on silent hinges, you see beyond there is a hallway that seems to stretch for an eternity. Doors, safes, and secrets line the walls all the way down. You know that all of these things here should not be touched. But you also know that sometimes what shouldn't be touched is exactly what must be. You walk forwards, and shadows stretch behind you, impossibly long. The raven that spoke to you flies and lands on your shoulder. The voice is gentler now. It has shifted as you've entered this hallway. There are things that the dead cannot do. That is why you walk amongst the living, my little raven. As you pass these doors and safes, you see flashes of vision. One, your hand reaches instinctively into the belt of a guard as you lift a key that he doesn't even realize is gone. Another, and you are scaling a wall like you are breath on the winds. The next, you find yourself in a manor window before the guards even know that anyone is there. As you turn back down this endless hallway, almost like lights turning off, the vision begins to fade. You awaken in the stillness of this cave, and in your hand, where your dagger should be, or your rapier should be, is a rusted iron key marked with the Raven Queen sigil. You know that you are not just a thief. You, Tomas, are her thief. All of you have received the benefits of a long rest, and you awaken feeling empowered, invigorated, more powerful and capable. Congratulations on level 3. Thank
Thank you.
That was amazing narrative.
Thank you. I'm sorry it took so much time. I would try to like streamline so it doesn't take up too much time, but I also want to be able to be clear and concise so I don't just sound like blah, blah, blah. Do you guys want to take the break here, or do you want to hit the ground running?
We could take the break here.
Okay.
Mm.
We will plan for 10 in case you guys need it, and if we are all back prior to that, then we'll get started sooner.
Okay. Oh, then I would just so that you know,
Mhm.
in my inventory, I put particle scroll of good berry, 2 hours, and then 6.
Okay. So, between all of you, you guys would be able to take most of what is here. The only problem would be, like, without the cart, there's no way he can carry all of the crates. So you guys would have to, like, stuff bags and, like, consolidate and things like that if you're wanting to take everything here. Weight-wise, I did. Yeah, I put it back. You should be at 51. Weight-wise, it won't be a problem for all of you guys, but carry capacity as far as how many crates you can carry at once is the issue. So, depending on how you guys want to handle that.
What total weight?
In total for everything, I'm just gonna ballpark and say like 500, and that's probably more. I'd say
Okay,
500 with the crates and everything.
Hey, why don't we start cutting down some trees and building a cart? That was not a serious suggestion, Denali. You don't have to worry about it.
I was like, let's fucking go. This is your story. I'm just here to do weird voices while you tell me what's going on.
Well, at the very
Okay.
Oh, you go.
Well, because on my character sheet it says I can lift 660 pounds.
Yeah, like I said, it's
Look at
not
that.
the weight that is a problem. What the problem is all of these crates and stuff. How are you going to carry all of these crates and barrels?
This is what we do, okay? We make a stack, we make a pyramid, okay? I can hold 3 and 2 and 1, or 3 and 3 and I can hold like 3 maybe in my reach. And then Tomas, you grab one and then you hop, and then you put it on top, and then you hop, and you put it on top. So I could probably carry 3 by, I don't know.
You can certainly try.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm gonna do. Yeah, I agree. Wow.
And Phalos, specifically, nobody else would is just going to hear in his head. I mean, that certainly is a plan, but I don't think it's a very good one.
Hear it?
Yeah, only you can hear it.
Does it have a specific, like,
No, it's my
voice
voice.
or tone or to it? Oh, it's your
clearly
voice?
Yeah, it's clearly my voice, but only you heard it.
Valor kind of just looks at you. Did you say something to me?
Oh fuck! I was practicing way too much. Hold on, and then I start speaking normally again.
That was weird.
Yeah, I practiced a little bit too hard, so just give me a nudge if only one of you starts hearing me speaking. I look even more tired than normal after waking up.
You would also notice. Do you want to tell them what else they notice, Karin, or do you want me to?
As I, because obviously of all the places to sleep, I chose Clark's throne. As
Clearly.
I decide to get up from the throne, in the most, I am so lazy and just have no capacity ever to do anything physical. Instead of walking across the room, I'm now slightly gliding across the room instead.
You're what again?
I'm slightly gliding across the room. Yeah, that stupid gif I sent that one time, that is what I'm doing.
It's
I
always
can
like scratching against the ground.
Basically, I'm just hovering on a trail of ink. It is the most pointless use of my power at all, but my god, I don't have to walk anymore. It's the greatest gift the DM could have given me. It's more impressive than my psionic abilities.
Valor will catch a glimpse and he'll say, "Oh, that seems very intriguing. Can you do that under my feet as well?"
I mean, and don't take this the wrong way, you are heavier than me. By a small amount, but just looking at the... You're a Goliath, right? So I'm assuming decent size and weight difference between us.
Yeah.
See,
So
when
I
Daddy
could
came first,
try,
we
but
went
I
back.
really don't think it would work.
Well, that's
And also, I don't want to.
that's
I don't want to.
I was
You kind of see Umo kind of pacing around you, just kind of like holding his hands behind his back, kind of like analyzing, like, you know, he's gonna say, "What exactly are you? I don't see a spell book on you. You must not be a wizard of sorts."
No, I don't really... Despite being able to do magic, I don't really understand it all that much. In fact, actually, out of character, how much does Umaril understand magic?
He has a very great understanding of magic. Or the
Then you
weave at
don't like what my magic looks like. The more you understand or like actively try and see how magic works, the more my magic looks wrong.
Denali, with my knowledge and how my character has a very great understanding of the weave, does he like know that he's a sorcerer? I would assume, or like he's one of those guys that can just do it on the fly and not have to study for it.
I think that would be a
No, I
safe
would admit I'm a
assumption.
sorcerer.
Okay. He's gonna be like, "Oh, you're one of them. How lucky you are." You know, not many of us can do that thing on the fly, but I guess some of us are more gifted than others.
There's a little
Quite-
flicker of
quite-
annoyance on my face when I say that, but I hide it very quickly. Yeah, I'm just gonna carry on and start moving the stuff that we're gonna plan on moving now and ignore the rest of that conversation.
now, ladies. Let's keep our control here. Okay.
Did I say something wrong? I didn't mean to offend. It was just an observation, you know? Sorcerers have something that many wizards can't do.
You can do magic. He can do magic. I can do magic. Liz can do magic. Tomas, what about you? Me, he can magically jump.
Exactly. And I can make things disappear. Oh, crazy.
Speaking of which, I was
Everyone has magic.
when you say that, I'm just gonna psychically send a message to you and just say, by the way, expect my share later.
I turn to you and I shake my head. Hmm.
Noted. And I'll end the connection.
Well, I'm assuming we're gonna go off looking for this dwarf now. We'll take what you all need from this place. Really has no value to me now that my unfortunate little elemental rock isn't really here anymore, so I'm not really too fond of this. What's it? I can't pronounce his name right.
Sildar.
Then Sildar, and I'm gonna kind of like, you know, proceed to kind of like, you know, be by the entrance of the cave, I guess.
You know I can hear you, right?
I'm well aware of that.
Okay. As long as we have an understanding, I suppose. I'm starting to wonder if perhaps you don't like these people because they're not fond of you. He doesn't laugh as he says that.
He's like thinking to himself and say, fondness? No, it's more of they take great interest in the things I want to do. They're not a problem for me. I mean, I've never had any scuffles or not really known by many towns and all. I've kept things fairly quiet for the past 2 years. So I wanted to essentially, I just don't want any trouble in the long run.
Perhaps continuing that silence is a good way to ensure that the lack of problems continues.
Well, anyways, shall we head out?
If everyone else is ready to head out, then yeah. Karan will have grabbed like the easiest thing to carry, by the way, just to make it look like he is helping. Cole's probably carrying more than him.
I like to imagine that you've just emptied one of the crates and put the lid back on and are just carrying an empty crate.
No, even better. I used minor illusion to make it look like I'm
Yes.
carrying nothing.
Just continually casting that. I love it. Okay.
Thomas jumps onto Carol. Like, ooh, this is a great way to get around, and slips him some gold. I was just playing. 10 gold pieces to him.
Alright. So we'll go ahead and add
Good.
that to your...
Into your head, you say, we can continue this at another time then, when it's sensible.
I'll think about it. And I go over to Phelan. So what do I need to do?
So,
The hop.
so if we, oh, I'm sorry.
Go
ahead.
on, Sliss.
No, go on. I was going to talk about carrying boxes.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, are you want me to like hop them up? I'm not that strong, you know.
So maybe we could take like a couple of long branches, make like like a little carrying device. Get one person in the front, one person in the back. Use some rope to tie the boxes, like kind of like you're carrying. What do you call those?
Stretcher.
Like as if you like the like when they
Stretcher.
would, yeah, like a sort of like a stretcher. What was it when like they would have like the royal people, and then there would be like a little
I know what you
platform
mean,
or
yeah.
yes, that word. It's with the P. That one.
Thank God for autism.
No, thank God for Steven Universe. Isn't it?
I should really know what it means to. Oh.
But yeah, if that doesn't
So,
take too much.
rig up one of those things and see if we could get a couple boxes between a few people there.
That's a great idea. I can pop on that too. To guide us.
No. Bliss point of inspiration for that idea. And I'll say that you guys have, between what you guys have on you and the stuff that's here, you guys would have enough supplies to do that. Are you guys consolidating any of the boxes at all? to lessen the amount of crates that you need to carry.
I
Okay,
feel like, yeah, I mean, we're carrying some of the stuff on our pockets anyway, so.
fair. Some more than others. Okay,
That's what my character would do.
I respect it. What I'll say is you guys, working all together, you guys will be able to take everything back, save for the crates that some of the stuff came in. I think that traveling this way would maybe add another hour, 2 tops to your travel time. If as long
It's
as
like an all. So this is an all-day trek.
essentially, yeah. But you guys will be able to take everything.
We can at least
good.
provide some. What's the word? Not assurance, but we can alleviate some of them. That at least we found some of their stuff, or hopefully their stuff.
Well, it has the same.
Well, and I suppose that there won't be any more goblin raiders until they come back and, repopulate the cave. But that should make things a little bit better for people coming in and out of the town.
Could charge them to get their stuff back.
One of my other tables did that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that term is your original.
Oh, whatever. We could just, while they're taking their stuff back, steal their stuff. I mean, from their pockets, they got.
Psychically inside voice.
Okay. Is there anything that you guys would like to discuss or roleplay or anything like that during your travel? If so, feel free to do so. If not, then we will time warp to you guys arriving back to Phandalin.
The
Well,
usual
yeah, guys.
quill floating in the sky, by the way.
What was that?
The usual quill being in the sky looking for things again.
Absolutely.
So, guys, I gotta say, maybe 2 nights ago, two nights ago, when we all had that dream about the obelisk, I've been thinking about that, and I find it a little bit unsettling. Has that been weighing on any of the rest of you, or just me?
Wait a minute. Did you say obelisk by chance?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us, the night before last, not the night in the cave, but the one before that, we all kind of woke up in a bit of a cold sweat, having had the same dream about a big black obelisk, dark sky, a very ominous presence about the whole thing. Kind of creeped me out, I gotta say.
Maybe, but it was still the best sleep I had in a while.
You're always
Yours,
tired.
I have a lot of
Yours
stuff
was-
going on when I'm asleep.
yours was dark.
Not mine. Mine was sweet. I could dream that for the rest of my life.
The one before.
In mine. Well,
I'm not talking about this last night, but the night before that, when we were in.
oh,
Yeah, the
My
one where
ears.
I got really cheerful.
they're
No, the dream we had, that we all had the same dream, and we talked about it in the morning, I think.
Yeah, we're in the
Yeah, that was the morning when you woke up with the little extra thing on your face. Remember that,
Let's
Baylor?
not talk about that, okay? Let's not talk about that.
didn't happen.
I still can't get the smell off my
Yeah, the fish.
nose hair.
How did it get there? That's insane.
No, but so has that been weighing on any of you guys? Maybe just me. Maybe it's just been something I can't get that sense of foreboding out of my head. I've spent a little bit of time meditating on that, and it's sticking with me.
my tabaxi friend, if you could please enlighten me. Tell me more about this dream. I'm quite interested.
Well, like I said, it was the night before last, and everyone had the same dream. So anyone else can chime in. But if I remember correctly, there was a sense of drifting, a little bit of weightlessness, and then we all were there together. We could sort of see each other in a big open area with stars and constellations, but they were on the ground as well as up in the sky. And there was no sun, no moon, just a big obsidian statue in the center of a field. And trying to bring it back here, but there was like a heartbeat of some sort, a thumping or a cracking, and some screaming, and the word return.
Hmm.
Now, did I miss anything, guys? You all were there too.
I don't believe you missed anything. But my player has very bad memory and isn't fully sure if there was anything missed.
As you're like saying this, Bliss, you see Umro just like writing stuff down in the journal. He kind of shuts the book. Well, I would assume there's something here maybe giving you this dream. Could be a area of proximity. Those types of, perhaps, I'm not too sure. Quite odd. Shared dreams too.
I noticed you were taking some notes. If I could reflect on this and do maybe a little bit of a walking meditation and see if I recall anything more, would that be of interest to you? Would you
That would be
maybe help
great
you
interest.
decipher the meaning of this dream?
That would be of great interest to me, and I would very much appreciate that if you could do that.
All right. Well, I'll do my best as we're walking. I'll chant a little bit and see if it can refresh my memory. And you think that proximity? You think there might be something, in the water, some object around, something that we're near?
From my tales, from what I've heard, or at least from what I studied, these obelisks have a sense of sending out perhaps signals. I'm not entirely too sure, but what I can tell is that they're very they seem to affect the things they stay in. So, for example, let's say we had this obelisk, how you described in this dream, and let's say it's in the middle of a field, and this field is close to a nearby town. I feel like it could essentially affect the things it's around, possibly. And this dream could be a sign or maybe a symptom of that, if that makes any sense. Perhaps that's just a hypothesis from what I can really think what would happen. I'm not entirely too sure. This thing is not from our plane, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. You've got a lot of information about these. Have you encountered one of these obelisks before?
I have not heard many stories, but it is a great deal of interest to me. I take a good, how do I say, particular interest in the Outer Planes itself.
Well, let's see if we can remember anything else, and maybe that'll give you some additional clues. The idea of an interplanar obelisk had not occurred to me, honestly, but I believe it.
Wait a second here. Outer plane? What are we talking about?
Oh, apologies. I'm so sorry. Well, I can. It's quite a long story. I could give you the whole roundabout, but essentially, we are in a how do I say it? We are in a thing called a plane or sorts of art. I guess a good way to say is like a plane of existence. As you know, there's the lower planes, the higher planes, so on and so forth. You know, it's a whole rigmarole. However, you know, it's a whole little roller coaster, I suppose, but it's very quite detailed. I could give you a more concluded conclusion or like answer to your question, but it's quite lengthy. Perhaps another time.
Denali, would Valor know anything about this? Probably not, right?
I don't think so. I mean, you may have heard small whispers of something along those lines, but definitely not in depth. Like, I don't think you would have any like working knowledge or understanding of it.
You may have to have a sit down with me later and give me the whole inner workings of these planes you are talking about. My small brain, I guess, cannot comprehend it, but maybe in time I can understand.
I
Of
would say you've got a
course,
small
sharing knowledge and educating people is one of my greatest.
Very well. Proceed. And he kind of just like, honestly, are we walking back with all the crap right now?
Yes.
So I would assume like Valor's probably like in the back, maybe more like holding like a heavier portion of it, you know? He kind of like turns his head as he's saying this, and then he kind of like pops back.
I have a question for you then. Seeing as though you seem to be our resident expert, do you have any suggestions on any detection of obelisk-like effects and events, things to keep an eye out for, if it is going to be potentially dangerous in the future?
Okay, so out of character. I don't like what's it called? I don't know like the full extent. I have not like done all that lore and that and like obelisk, so I'm gonna like. Can I like recall anything, Denali?
Repeat the question one more time so I can know what specifics to give you.
Oh, my question.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I was asking if, as like apparently our self-appointed expert, if he had any like tips or anything we should keep an eye out for to basically as like an early warning, so if we're not sort of caught unaware of like obelisk sort of effects or events going. It's like we're aware that the dream was an obelisk effect, but since he's making it sound kind of dangerous, is there anything we should look out for? And sort of go, oh, that looks obelisk related. Maybe we should be careful here. That kind of thing.
Go ahead and give me a history check first, please, Uriel.
Alrighty. Skills.
Okay,
That is
not
23.
bad. So what I will preface this with is that I don't think you would have any first-hand knowledge or anything of shared dreams revolving around obelisks. What you've heard, specifically with the shared visions and everything, is new to you. And you've heard about obelisks before, so obviously you are aware of what they are. With your backstory and what you have spent a lot of your time doing and learning about, I think it would be safe for you to assume that there could be any number of things that could be counted as like signs or forewarnings. Something as simple as like unnatural weather, to something as drastic as like the subtle warping of reality. There's an array of things that could potentially fall. This is a very very big umbrella, and without having more specific information on this particular obelisk, the origin of it, the intention behind it, the current state of it, there's a lot of open-ended, unknown information, so it's hard to kind of narrow down the specifics of it. So it's a large range of possibilities.
Okay. So, Boomeral's gonna say, well, the effects of it are quite unknown. They could be big, they could be small. It really only matters once we essentially kind of get closer to it, wherever it may be. My main concern, though, is mostly the people looking for it. I'm more worried of the people than, say, the effects at this very moment. But we'll find out when we get there.
Okay, I'm just going to carry on gliding then.
I think something else that you would know to look out for is like shady characters, like cult activity and things like that as well.
Yeah, looking out for the typical high and mighty wizard, or like, whatever that, that typical guy in Baldur's Gate 3, the wizard in Act 3, whatever his name is. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Heroic?
Yeah, him.
That guy.
That guy.
Okay.
He has a punchable face.
I haven't made it
Still
to
in the
Act 3.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I keep starting it over with other people, and then we just never get to finish it. And then my pigeon brain is like, "Ooh, something else to do."
I have made several characters yet.
Okay, let me reshare this for you. As you guys... Nope, I don't want to move that. I want to move this. There we go. Alright, you guys can all see the map and the token. Okay. As you...
On that quill in the middle of the map.
Yeah, no, we're gonna replace him. Oh, go ahead and give me a... I mean, I guess it it's a moot point now since I've moved you guys back, but go ahead and give me a perception check for Quill. As you've had him scouting out, I'm so sorry I dropped the ball on that one earlier.
Doesn't... I need to check one thing before I do this, and I've picked up a dice now. I don't know how to drop them. Ignore this roll.
Alright, I will ignore those really awesome rolls.
Yeah. I just needed to double check. No, that's the wrong one too.
There's a 17 and a 19.
Damn it. I mean, we can take those if you want, because I cannot remember where thing I'm looking for is.
To see which stat to use for the perception.
No, I was right. Whatever I roll, I need to add 2. Yeah, I need to add 2 to whatever he rolls, because he has plus... Oh, can I just add it here? I can't.
You should
No,
be
he
able
has
to.
plus 3 to perception. He's only got plus 1 in his sheet, so...
Boop-a-doop-a-doo.
Doesn't matter, he's rolled a 20.
Beautiful.
But it is a 23.
Okay, very, very nice. And it is a good thing that you sent Quill out ahead of you. As he's so derpy and cute. Have you guys seen the art for Quill, by the way? It is fucking adorable. I love it. Like, I kind of want it tattooed because it's so cute.
I need to see the art.
It's,
Check it.
if you can either see on the top left of the screen where all of the characters are, there's this little black bird with the big bulgy eyes.
see it.
Yeah,
Calling
that's...
it art is a little bit generous, by the way.
I am a very
Oh.
generous person. But he ensures the safe passage of you and your companions. Squawking, and now I'm just going to make him squawk really derpy because of how he looks. But so I will not subject you to that. But he ensures you that the path is safe and empty ahead, and you guys are able to make your way back to Phandalin. Uriel, I need to get in the habit of calling you that now instead of Umaril.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I feel
you're
like it's weird because, yeah.
no, you're fine. Just if I mess it up or anything, if I don't catch myself,
No, I'm good,
gently correct me.
yeah.
This town, this is your first time being here, and I'll go ahead and coupling the history check, and then assuming that, Sildar or some of the other group would have shared some of the information with you about, well, he'd already told you about the cave and everything like that, so you've got a breakdown of the town. You see a town that is very much in the restoration process. The walls on the outskirts of the town, settlement really, a town is a very generous word, are dilapidated and crumbled and smashed in more places than it's not. Some of the buildings, a lot of them are newer construction. The older buildings are made of stone. A lot of the new ones are made of timber. Most of them, for the most part, have like straw roofs or thatched roofs. And to give you a quick break, well, like, as a player, you already know, because you're in Phandalin and the other group, too. So I won't bother you telling you what's where. But as you guys arrive, it's not quite dusk, but it is early evening. And most of the buildings and homes and businesses have warm glows that kind of cascade out of the windows as the lamps or hearths from within are lit, and it casts a warm glow out onto the streets. But there is a sense of heaviness here. You get the sense that this is a town of burden, or plagued by something. The streets, for the most part at this point, are relatively empty. You can hear some chatter in the distance coming from within some of the buildings. Before I get ahead of myself, what is your first order of business as you return to town?
I feel
Well,
like
I feel like
Google Costa.
Lionshield
Yeah.
Coster? Okay. Bliss?
as much as I'd love to deposit all this heavy stuff that we're carrying, I really do feel like we need to stop by the temple and at least tell Layla that we made it back, because I promised her that we'd get there by the end of the day yesterday, so it's almost 24 hours late.
Bliss,
come you-
I will take your hold.
I appreciate
I'll
that.
bear your weight. Bliss, and you can.
I appreciate that. Your sharing the burden is always what's the saying? A shared burden is always lighter to carry, or something like that. I might have made that up just now.
Either way, it is solid advice. I have a question for you guys. My kids are starting to get kind of antsy and agitating one another and bickering. I know it's a little early, but are you guys okay with putting a pin in things here to come back next week and pick up with going to the temple and the Lionshield Coster?
Yeah.
Do we get gold
Okay.
compensation? Or possibly
Yes.
magic items?
Yes.
Excellent.
When you
I expect a rib of the Archmagi by tomorrow.
there will, maybe not tomorrow, but at some point there will be magic items. I do apologize that it's a little bit early, but it's their last day of school, and they actually did better than I thought they would. I'm going to end the stream really quick. Thank you guys for watching. This group will be back next Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern. Bye.
Bye.